In this video, John MacArthur describes Adolf Hitler as an example of a type of Antichrist. What's fascinating about this clip is that John MacArthur explicitly describes Hitler as demon-possessed, which is interesting for a cessationist to say. This clip comes from a sermon where John MacArthur was teaching about the end times and talking about the Antichrist. Let's listen.
Now, what kind of a person would this be? I want to help you to understand that by giving you a picture. I don't want you to think of Antichrist as some kind of an abstract term. This is an actual person. And there's a model for this person, and I know it's a horrible thing to talk about this individual, but looking through human history, the most obvious and most well-known model for this kind of person is Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler desired to rule the world. He had global designs. Secondly, he decided that he would destroy the Jews. This puts him right at the heart and soul of all anti-God, anti-Christ efforts, attempted to destroy the Jews in order to destroy the purposes of God through them. Adolf Hitler was not just a man bereft of his senses or driven by bizarre passions. He was demon-possessed at the most profound level. He is a prime example of the coming Antichrist who will be Satan-filled. There's a fascinating book called The Morning of the Magicians by Louis Powells and Jacques Bergier, Avon Books, 1969, written the year I came here. It was an amazing thing to read that book, The Morning of the Magicians, because it talks about Adolf Hitler. The authors, who are non-Christians, present the case for Hitler's identification with the demon world, drawn from records of the Nuremberg trials, for example, thousands of books and reviews, and the testimony of many eyewitnesses. And here are the things they say about Adolf Hitler. Here's a quote. "It is impossible to understand Hitler's political plans unless one is familiar with his basic beliefs and his conviction that there is a magical relationship between man and the universe." And by saying that, they introduce the reader into the world of mysticism in which Hitler lived. Deep, dark connections with demonic powers. He saw the miracle of his own destiny, Hitler did, as an action of unseen supernatural forces. The writers go on to say, the probable explanation for Hitler's deeds is the existence of a magical puzzle, a powerful and satanic mystical current. We shall never be safe from Nazism, or rather from certain manifestations of the satanic, which, through the Nazis, cast its dark shadow over the world until we have roused ourselves to full understanding of the most fantastic aspects of the Hitlerian adventure, which is to say, you can't understand him unless you understand his connections with demons.
Again, it's interesting here that John MacArthur claims that Hitler was demon-possessed. The reason it's interesting is because MacArthur is a cessationist, which means he believes the miraculous gifts in the New Testament has ceased, including casting out of demons. In fact, many cessationists believe that the supernatural activity of demons has significantly decreased or stopped altogether after the time of the apostles, and that modern-day manifestations of demonic possessions or affliction are likely attributed to other causes such as mental illness or psychological disorders. So the fact that MacArthur flat-out calls Adolf Hitler demon-possessed is quite interesting, instead of just saying that he was a psychopath or sociopath.